YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. I got an updated NFL mock draft for you guys today as players are declaring, players are announcing that they're going to return, and a bunch of players going to the transfer portal, which was kind of happening like crazy today. So I thought it was a good time to hop on here, update an NFL mock draft for you guys. Of course, during draft season, during the offseason, we'll have all kinds of NFL draft coverage. Right now on the channel, bunch of in-season NFL content, so head over there, check it out, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Be much appreciated. Follow us on Twitter. It's on your screen. There's also a link pinned in the comments, as well as our sponsor links, GLD Shop, Liquid IV, code GOAT. Rocking the Minnesota Vikings chain from the GLD Shop. They have NFL teams. They have jerseys for some players. Check it out. Cool stuff. Very affordable. Again, code GOAT. And again, links pinned in the comments. Mock draft. Using the current draft order today. So heading into week 14 of the NFL season. And some of these guys have declared. Some we're still waiting to hear. Some guys that we won't include because they're returning. So Bryce Young to the Texans is what I have first overall. It's pretty clear now, especially after the Davis Mills benching, that the Texans are looking for the quarterback of the future still. Bryce Young is starting to pull away as that top quarterback in the class for several reasons. You think he's the best one, but he's the best right now. He's also the safest right now. Some of these other guys, maybe things are being schemed up for them, or things need to be schemed up, or guys are a little raw, have a ways to go. You know, Bryce Young has that best big play ability right now. He's also the smartest, the best at reading defenses out of the bunch. I like that he can escape pressure. He's very good at it, which is big in today's NFL. So the only knock on him, he's a little on the shorter side. That's the only knock. So the Texans go Bryce Young, who is definitely worthy of the #1 overall pick. Also worthy of the #1 overall pick is Jalen Carter, the Georgia defensive lineman, who I've going to the Chicago Bears number two. If the draft started today and the Texans were picking 1, the Bears were picking 2, and they were locked in at those picks, I'm very, very, very confident. Draft's not that close, but I'm very confident if those teams are locked in at picking at 1 and 2, this is how the draft would go. I'm pretty damn confident about it. Of course, the Bears could trade back. And there are some teams that we won't see being mocked to quarterbacks, or mocked with quarterbacks that I think actually would consider Bryce Young, but he's gone first overall. But yeah, some people talk about the Bears trading back, but I think Eberflus and that whole staff, Ryan Poles as well, I think they would really like Jalen Carter. I think they're looking to improve that interior. I think that's more important to them, Eberflus's defense, than the edge, which edge is very important. Will Anderson will be considered, but I think that they would look to improve the interior first with a guy like Jalen Carter. I think they really value that. Carter's an absolute disruptor. He's been tearing it up recently. Can move around a bit on the defensive line. Bears are looking for that piece. Carter could go first overall if a team like the Bears maybe have the first overall, a team that maybe doesn't need a quarterback, which some teams surprisingly could still be in the market for a quarterback. You know, some teams like the Bears, the Seahawks. I don't know if the Lions are that surprising, but I think if it's Bryce Young, maybe. But I like Carter for the Bears, and the Bears would really like Carter. And again, I'm very confident one. If those two teams are picking 1 and 2, and they aren't trading the pick, which I know the Texans definitely wouldn't, I think those are the picks they would make. Seahawks go Will Anderson. Will Anderson, another of the top prospects here. Interesting decision for the Seahawks because they could go quarterback because Geno Smith expiring contract. And is he the answer long term? He's the answer right now, maybe for the near future, but long term, probably not. And when the Seahawks have the opportunity to take a quarterback, you know, when they have an opportunity to be number 3 overall, and this isn't even from their own pick, you know, so they could go quarterback. I think they would take Bryce Young. I definitely think they would, but he's not there. So they go Will Anderson, always looking for more pass rush help. Uchenna Nwosu's been good for them this year, a little bit of a hybrid type player. So they add another one here with the top tier prospect and Will Anderson from Alabama. Lions go C.J. Stroud, kind of in the same boat where it's like, when are you going to have this opportunity? You got pretty fortunate that the Rams pick is the 4th overall pick, at least at this given time. You know, so the Lions been drafting very well. They're clearly getting better right now. So I don't think they expect to be having a pick this early going forward. You have the opportunity, so you take C.J. Stroud, the quarterback from Ohio State. Prototypical size, you know, has that arm talent. Obviously, very good, working through his progression scan in the field. You know, a lot of things schemed up for the Ohio State quarterbacks, obviously. in the passing game, but in the Lions would like Stroud here and take a shot in their quarterback future. Jared Goff's been playing pretty solid for them this year, though, so who knows? But they have that opportunity here. Will Levis, 5th to the Panthers. I know they have Matt Corral. They can't be attached to him, 3rd-round pick. Still looking for the quarterback of the future. Enough messing around with the Baker Mayfields, the Sam Darnolds, guys like that. And they take Will Levis here, which I know people are a little underwhelmed or pretty underwhelmed by maybe the statistics or the way he played. Kentucky played this year, but ton of upside here with Will Levis. Prototypical size, very strong, obviously very physical, has that arm talent, could run. Not all his fault, obviously, why his play wasn't great this year. The offensive line was pretty brutal for Kentucky, and the play calling wasn't great either. They were trying to work around the offensive line, but they weren't allowing Levis to kind of go out there and put out the full Levis, in my opinion. So I think he's got a lot of upside. He can brush up on some things. I think he's going to be a lot better in the NFL. I think NFL teams, not all of them, but I think NFL teams, coaches, scouts will see that as well. So the Panthers get their quarterback. Eagles from the Saints go Myles Murphy, the edge rusher from Clemson. A lot of upside here. I think another guy to be more productive in the NFL than he was in college. Very young, has the measurables, has the physicality there from Clemson, and I think the Eagles would like him. I think he'd work well with the Eagles. They're always looking for pass rushers as well. Robert Quinn's only going to be here for half the year. He hasn't really worked out for them so far. Brandon Graham up there in age, so they could again, always looking for more pass rushers. So they go Murphy there, a lot of upside. Jaguars go Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle from Georgia, who's had an outstanding season. The Jaguars could go different routes here, go multiple different routes, but Juwan Taylor probably not going to be, or he could be, but they could get better because he is a free agent, but they could get better at the position anyways, and that would be the case with Broderick Jones, which Georgia's been pumping out players like crazy in general, but you look at some of the offensive linemen recently, Andrew Thomas, Jamari Sawyer this year, who was underrated for some reason, but playing very well for the Chargers, and Jones looks the part for sure. Have him going 7th to the Jags. 8th, I got the Cardinals going Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback from Oregon. I have been mocking him for quite a while around here, up here. People have been questioning it, but you see some other, pretty popular people in the draft community starting to mock it now, and people starting to realize. So I don't know if anybody's questioning anymore. This stuff happens every year, all right? So been watching Christian Gonzalez this year. He's really been standing out to me. Love the length, the lockdown ability. Team's kind of just throwing away from him. Real smooth with the footwork, the hips as well. Cardinals kind of been looking for that corner. They've been pretty picky with it, though. Feels like they've been looking for another corner for a while, like almost since Patrick Peterson left. And they can get one, with either Keely Ringo or Christian Gonzalez. I like Gonzalez for them, 8th overall. So you see 3 out of the top 8 picks that were involved in trades. Pretty interesting how those are just sticking up here. They're even getting higher up there. Next 8 picks. Colts, 9th overall, go Peter Skoronski, offensive line from Northwestern. They could go quarterback. They're still looking for that quarterback in the future. Maybe don't want to mess around with a maybe type guy, like a veteran, maybe that's kind of declining, and they're done with that. And they, Anthony Richardson's a very interesting prospect that we'll talk about in a second, but I think Colts are going to start with that offensive line. It's not where it used to be, and they know when they played good football, the offensive line was elite, maybe the best in football, and it's not there right now. So, and they focus on that first, and Skoronski's sitting there. They take a shot on him, who is, some people will say because of his measurables and his ability, maybe guard, but he's been a very good tackle. I like him at tackle. I definitely like him at tackle for the Colts. Outstanding run blocker for them. 9th overall. Falcons go Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida. So he declared today, which wasn't really surprising. I heard it could happen, I think it was a week or two ago. I think 2 weeks ago now. I tweeted it. So it shouldn't really be much of a surprise. But before that point, it was kind of a surprise. I haven't been mocking him, throughout the mocks throughout this season, because for a while there I did not think he was going to declare because I didn't think he was ready yet as a passer, and that's a big part of it too. Is he a first-round pick because he's a fantastic runner, but he has a ways to go as a passer, being consistent with his accuracy, the base, the footwork needs some work, and reading NFL coverages, of course, or reading coverages, I should say, in general. But he does declare, and then you wonder, was he just sick of school, didn't want to deal with transferring or staying at Florida? Did he just, I want to go to the NFL, I don't really care what pick I am? Or did he get, players always get feedback from NFL scouts. Did he get some really good feedback? Because you do see the upside there. He's a big body guy, about 6'3", 6'4", about. And he can run, he can escape the pressure, which the NFL is kind of heading that direction. So do teams see the upside, they want to work with him? Maybe he got some first-round feedback there. It's possible. That's why I mocked him pretty high. I would think it's early. I think he has a bit of ways to go as a passer, but you do see the upside. The comparison I'm coming up with, a little bit of what we see from Justin Fields in the NFL right now, and a mixture of maybe Malik Willis. Kind of some of the things we saw from him. A lot taller than Malik Willis, which was a big reason Willis dropped a bit, so that's good for Richardson, I suppose. But, could end up being a run-first guy, obviously. Needs to work on the passing. But maybe the Falcons would take a shot. The Falcons, it felt like the direction they were heading was going to find their quarterback of the future in this upcoming draft. Now, the 10th pick maybe isn't what we all planned, though. Maybe a little early. They've been losing a bit lately, so they might be picking a little earlier. But, yeah, so maybe they take that up. They'll be good with the run quarterback like Richardson. I think Mariota really not the answer, but it kind of looks good when he's able to use his legs. So take a shot at Richardson, fit that Arthur Smith offense there. So it's a possibility. He does have a ways to go as a passer, though. So, but you see the upside at the same time. So he's a very tricky one to mock right now. But fresh off declaring today, maybe he got some good feedback there. Packers go Paris Johnson Jr., offensive lineman from Ohio State. Who played guard in the past, played tackle very high level this year. Packers offensive line just isn't the same. They're aging, they have injuries, and just the talent really isn't fully there like it used to be. So they're kind of trying to get back on track there with this pick here, targeting a top-tier offensive lineman with Paris Johnson Jr. Raiders go Keely Ringo, a good way to improve that defense. Definitely could use some corner help, so they get a solid man coverage corner from Georgia there in Ringo. Texans from the Browns take Jaxon Smith-Njigba, receiver from Ohio State, who also declared today. Didn't really help his stock this year because he only played in 3 games. Didn't even play those in the full 3 games, obviously. Probably only played like 1 full game, if I'm mistaken. So he doesn't really help his stock this year, but I think we've been acting like he's hurt his stock. I don't know if he necessarily did that either. You kind of got to go off of what he did last year and what he could become. And those were good things. While we were mocking him super high before, coming from Ohio State definitely helps as well because these receivers are something else. And almost one of the safer picks, actually, even though he's been injured this year. Rested this year, didn't further risk the injury. And he's very talented. And taking an Ohio State receiver seems to be a safe bet, too, as well. In this receiver class, there's really no sure thing guys. So I'm starting to move Jaxon Smith-Njigba back up. Texans definitely looking for another receiver there. Cook's always involved in the trade talks, and definitely could use another guy to pair with their quarterback of the future. Steelers go Trenton Simpson, linebacker from Clemson. Could still be looking for a linebacker. Bush going to be a free agent. How long is Miles Jack going to be the answer for there? You need another one as well. Feels like they're still looking for one. Simpson, a freaky dude in there from Clemson. So the Steelers go that route. Could use some more help on offense. Offensive line's playing a little better than expected, maybe. I think they'll maybe look at probably another receiver, but not in the first round. They'll be fine taking one in day 2, and they'll probably hit on that receiver. And the Lions go Tyree Wilson. So they go an edge guy to pair with Aiden Hutchinson. So a really good duo of the future. Wilson, super lengthy, super productive the last 2 years. Kind of weird seeing a top-tier defender from Texas Tech, but very impressive. And the Lions got some other bodies that could play the edge position, but, if they can build this with Hutchinson and Wilson for the future, it could be pretty damn deadly. Chargers go Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. Maybe a little bit of a bold pick. You don't really see them tight end. Talked about with them. Everett, not a long-term answer. Mayer, big-time tight end prospect. And they are known for taking, over there in L.A., taking some Notre Dame players as well. Just realized that, so it also works for that reason. But that could be a sneaky pick there. Add that weapon for Herbert at the tight end position. I think they could use another receiver, which I don't know if they think that, though. They probably believe it's got to be healthier there. So maybe adding that tight end is where they view improving kind of the entire receiving unit there without taking a receiver early. So the Chargers go Mayer. Next group of picks, another receiver. Patriots go Quentin Johnston, the receiver from TCU. Obviously, big body, contested catch type receiver. Flashy this year, very productive. TCU going to the playoff. That's huge. Patriots, Receivers might look a little different than they do right now. We got some free agents coming up. You got coming up here, and you got some guys they could just move on from as well. So the receivers on that roster could look a bit different. Even though they got a number of decent guys right now, it could look a bit different. This time or next year, I should say. So Johnson made some sense there. Commanders go Cam Smith, cornerback from South Carolina. Corners are playing all right now. Overall, the defense is. I think it's more so the front seven. Well, not really the linebackers, but really the defensive front, and then the safeties are playing out of their minds right now. But William Jaxon obviously didn't work out for them, and they ended up trading him. And I don't think they wanted all that to go down. They technically been playing better without him, and they realized he didn't really work out. But I don't know if they really wanted that extra corner that they thought they could be something. So I still think they're looking for another corner here. Cam Smith had a fantastic year, South Carolina. He is declared already as well, the lockdown corner there from SC. Bucks grab that guard of the future, Osiris Torrance from Florida. Shortage on guards in this class as we look at it right now, but the Bucks get one here in Torrance. Brian Breze, the defensive lineman from Clemson to the Seahawks. Kind of best player available type situation there for the Seattle Seahawks. Their second pick here. Got an edge guy and an interior guy. I went really bold with this one. Titans take Bijan Robinson, the running back from Texas. A very difficult one to mock because to me, and I haven't been a big running back top 10 or running back early guy in a long time, but to me, Robinson is a top 10 caliber player. He's just that talented. I think he'll be a Pro Bowl NFL back right away. I really do. So it's one of those guys where it's like, God, I feel like he's going to go a lot earlier in this. It was just so difficult to find a spot in this scenario based on what was coming off the board, what was happening, who was available. So very, very tricky. And I got to this point where it's like, man, Robinson's got to come off the board here at some point because I don't know if he's I could see top 10, but I also could see top 20 around this range. I could see a lot of different scenarios. But the Titans have Derrick Henry, who still is one of the best in football, but he has one more year left on his deal, and the Titans are probably realizing right now the offensive line's been taking a beating. They'll probably move on from Taylor Lewan after this year. Could they take a tackle here? Some of the best ones off the board, but they need to spend some money there. Robert Woods hasn't worked out. They really realize they have a shortage at receiver, and they're very short on money too. Like this year, and then even looking at next year, which there's ways for them to clear space, but they've realized that we got to fix some of these other things because we're not getting any better right now, and they have money tied to Derrick Henry, which they'll keep next year for sure, but do they want to extend him for more than that one more year and tie a bunch of more money there when there's a very, very talented back and Robinson there, a guy like that, and they'll value the running back position too with a draft pick here. Maybe they'd rather do that than with the money. So it's a bold one. It's interesting, but I could definitely see it in this scenario. Jets, this might seem a little bold to people because they have receivers. Garrett Wilson's tearing it up right now. But Jordan Addison, maybe the best separator out of the group of receivers in this class. I have the Jets going that route. They need a quarterback of the future. They're almost like a quarterback away, it feels like right now. Can't really get one with 22. They could be interested in a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, free agency. We're getting ahead of ourselves right now. But I look at the rest of the team is pretty damn complete. Of course, they'll probably have a need at this time. Could they go tackle? Is there one worthy of this pick here? But what's happened with Elijah Moore? That situation maybe a little underwhelming too. Corey Davis isn't going to be around there forever. They just played in week 13. They're kind of trying to get Berrios the ball. He drops a touchdown. So you start to think these things. Garrett Wilson's carrying the group, it kind of feels like right now. So you get another one of those bodies like Jordan Addison, and it's an even better group, because Mims isn't going to be around either. Could they give in and trade more if he still seems to be a little bit more of a problem in the future? So not a huge bunch of glaring needs besides quarterback here for the Jets. So I went Addison. Another receiver, Cedric Tillman, who I like a lot, isn't being talked about enough. He missed some games this year, so that could be why. But you like the size. You like that he's kind of a do-it-all type receiver. Contested catch guy, can run routes. Pretty good after the catch as well. Giants definitely could use a receiver. So what they thought Galladay could be here, and a guy like Cedric Tillman, he might have the most upside out of the group of receivers we've talked about so far. So I like Tillman. And then you got the Broncos from the Dolphins, from the 49ers, taking Isaiah Foskey. They need to improve the offense, so this is tough. They need to improve the offense, but what could they actually do to do that? They find a new coach if they decide to do that, find a new quarterback, which they're not going to do. Get healthy at the offensive line position. They have receivers. They have Javonte Williams if he's healthy. You know, they could use another edge rusher. Foskey's been an absolute stud these last couple years for Notre Dame. So they get another pass rusher there in Foskey. Last 8 picks, the Ravens grab a running back at Jahmyr Gibbs. I was thinking the Ravens could use a receiver, and a receiver, but they're very stubborn when it comes to the receivers. They could grab one here, though. But they also could use, I mean, the offensive linemen continue to get beat up. They could use a corner because Peters is declining. He's also a free agent. Pass rush should get better because remember, you got to factor in a guy like an Ojabo in the mix, but they could get better there. What are they going to do at Roquan Smith? Is the interior defensive line as good as it used to be? It's aging. Start to realize the Ravens actually have more needs than you think, and maybe why they're not as good as some people hope they would be. Right? They can't hang on to some of these games, but I also think they could use a running back, and they don't trust their running backs right now. They're not giving enough carries. Like Drake even has some good games. They don't give him enough carries. Edwards dealing with injuries, and Izzy himself. They're missing Dobbins, but what has Dobbins proven to them? And he's gotten injured multiple times. They value running back. They could target one in free agency. There's some ones that really fit them. Josh Jacobs, kind of the higher end one. You look at a guy like Damian Harris, David Montgomery. Those running backs fit them. But senior with Gibbs, he fits, and he also adds that pass catching element at a very high level for Lamar Jackson for this. Assuming they extend him, re-sign him. Which I expect them to. So I like Gibbs for the Ravens there. I really thought about corner, though, as well. Bengals go with Darnell Washington, the big body tight end from Georgia, who's been fantastic this year, over 400 yards production. So Bengals could definitely use that tight end, and they'll be intrigued with a guy like that, maybe move up for a guy like Michael Mayer. Cowboys grab that corner to pair with Trevon Diggs, Joey Porter Jr. from Penn State, and they would like him very much. Anton Harrison's a big riser for me. We'll see if he can sneak up there because of his talent, but in that alone. But Fashanu from Penn State, who we're mocking pretty high, actually returned to school, so that helps some other tackles like this. The Chiefs could use one more piece to the puzzle there. Well, they may need 2 tackles if Orlando Brown Jr. isn't brought back, but we'll see what the situation was with that. But they could use another guy anyway, so Harrison's been good for Oklahoma. Not the best year for Oklahoma, but Harrison's been very good. Clark Phillips, the cornerback from Utah. We see the talent all year long to play, but especially here this last game in the Pac-12 championship game against USC. Vikings could definitely use another cornerback of the future. Bills, not a whole lot of glaring needs in pass rush. They just got better over the recent years. Well, over the last year, actually, with Von Miller and Greg Rousseau. So maybe not the biggest need. But Von Miller, he's had some injuries pop up over his career. Last year wasn't really a thing. This year it popped up again. He's not going to be around forever. Rousseau dealing with some things as well, and just could use another guy. I know they have some depth, but they could use another guy in there. I think they'll like Jared Verse as a fit. Former Albany pass rusher, Florida State this year. You like the length from him. And the Eagles go Brian Branch, DB from Alabama. Listed as a safety, but we see him play safety, kind of corner like in the slot. Just overall a defensive back that is pretty damn good in man coverage, which I think the Eagles want to do more and more of here. So they could use another body back there. And we see they kind of get creative with the way they're using a guy like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They can use another one of those guys in there, like Branch, who, again, can move around a bit. Not a lot of glaring needs for the Eagles. I have like Jahmyr Gibbs for them, but I had him off the board at this point. So, and of course, only 31 picks in this year's first round. So, we're starting to see some guys. Few of these guys declared. Few guys we had to remove because they're returning. And still waiting on a lot of guys, though. And the transfer portal has been crazy, absolutely crazy. It's like NFL free agency out there. It was crazy last year. It's even crazier this year. Not that surprised, though. But that'll wrap it up for our updated mock draft here heading into Week 14 in the NFL. We'll have more of these. We go crazy with the draft coverage in the offseason. So join us for all of our NFL content here. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Much appreciated. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Very important link. Pin in the comments for that. Anything else you're looking for. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.